Hey everyone, Gamer Binu here. Today I'll walk you through the Path of Exile series for those interested in POE2, and highlight the key differences between the new release and the original game. POE is so complex that a few minutes aren't enough to cover everything, with its vast content, diverse builds, and deep progression systems. Being free to play and constantly updated with new content, it's become one of the most successful ARPG globally, hitting 200,000 concurrent players each season. It hasn't quite caught on in Korea. Most Korean gamers just see it as another Diablo clone. It's understandable considering historically complex games like D&D Online never lasted long in Korea, regardless of how good they were. With PC cafes defining Korean gaming culture, multiplayer games, casual games for hobby players, and competitive games tend to be more popular in Korea. This content-rich single-player action RPG demands a huge time investment. The seasonal system where characters move to standard league makes group play even harder. That's why Path of Exile never really caught on in Korea. Despite running for 6 years in Korea, its complex nature created a growing gap between veteran and new players. Some veterans became so elitist they unknowingly created a toxic environment for newcomers. The game earned a reputation for being complex and intimidating. These issues have limited PoE's growth in Korea despite its amazing gameplay. So what makes dedicated players like me so passionate about PoE? While it's slightly off topic for this video, let me briefly explain. One of PoE's biggest draws is its nearly limitless build diversity. Unlike other games where only a couple of builds are viable and the rest are useless, almost any well-planned build can be effective at different stages of the game. Sure, PoE once had 3 dominant builds that made up over 70% of all players. But nowadays, even the most popular builds rarely exceed 15% usage. Even these top skills are used differently across various classes and build type. Another major appeal is its vast amount of content. While the sheer volume can be overwhelming for beginners, 10 years of accumulated content remains engaging and relevant to this day. While many games abandon old content when adding new features, PoE lets you enjoy all content and focus on farming whatever you prefer. Players can specialize as miners, hunters, crafters, or even market traders. Particularly in solo self-found mode, you'll need to master a wide range of content to perfect your character build. Our trade leagues offer various rewards and unique currencies from different content, creating a dynamic market where players adapt to new economic systems each season. It's nearly perfect for hardcore players, but this makes it quite intimidating for casual gamers. Players with only 2 hours daily to spare will struggle to get hooked on the game. Veterans breeze through it, but newcomers spend over 10 hours just on the campaign acts. And these acts barely showcase what makes PoE really enjoyable. Most newcomers quit after a week of grinding through these tedious story acts. Thankfully, Grinding Gear Games recognizes these issues and plans major improvements in the sequel. Let's see what Path of Exile to bring to the table. The gameplay action is the key highlight here. Beginning over a decade old, the original game had inherent limitations in terms of improvements. While graphics continued to evolve, core elements like character rigging remain difficult to upgrade. POE2 features a complete redesign, unlocking a whole new range of action possibilities. After several playthroughs, it feels more like a pure action game than a traditional hack and slash. The spellcasting feels authentic, reminiscent of Dragon's Dogma, while Warrior's Pack has had a Spilgy heavy punch. On the flip side, the signature fast-paced gameplay from POE1 has been toned down. According to game director Jonathan Rogers, the endgame content restores the power fantasy, letting players feel truly godlike. I believe they've used enhanced action gameplay to address the early game tedium, while preserving the original's fast-paced excitement for late-game and repeated playthrough. To lead start, I'll go for a strong build with multiple buttons for damage efficiency. Once I've built up enough currency, I'll switch to a simple one-button build to maximize farming efficiency. To the new combat system come epic boss battles. POE2 as campaign alone features over 100 boss encounters. Unlike the basic act bosses from the original POE, each of these 100 bosses has unique mechanics and challenges. Even Act 1 bosses are as complex as POE1 Uber bosses. Many bosses require mastering their diverse skills and patterns to win. When stuck, you can either gear up through farming, or rely purely on your mechanical skill. This makes for great streaming content. I can show you how to overcome challenging bosses. I'll share boss strategies and efficient farming routes. Though my mechanical skills aren't great, I know my way around builds and tricks. POE2's biggest change is combining item builds, mechanic mastery, and combat skills into one comprehensive boss fighting experience. In the previous game, you had 6 portals per map and could keep trying the boss, even after 5 deaths. Now dying to a boss resets their health completely, you start fresh. There's no more corpse rushing, but there's always a checkpoint before boss rooms for quick retry. Unlike Souls games, you won't have to stress about running back through mob areas. Though getting to the boss room can still be tough. Early on, try to identify all possible items to find valuable gear. Even basic items can be turned into powerful weapons using Orb of Alchemy. With better weapons, your character becomes much stronger, making early boss fights significantly easier. The new game now features a dodge roll mechanic. While the roll doesn't boost speed or protect from AoE damage, making it less powerful than you might expect. Its quick startup animation still makes it effective for dodging attacks. Unlike the previous game, you can't choose phasing to escape when surrounded by enemies. And you'll need to combine it with other skill to unlock its full potential. Monks can create clones while rolling that explode to generate power charges. These skill combinations are key to making the most of the dodge roll. Mastering the dodge roll can make the game much more manageable. If you're still struggling, you can always team up with other players. POE2 puts a strong emphasis on multiplayer features, including party play and couch co-op. The game features 6-player parties and split-screen local co-op for 2 players. In POE1, party composition has 1 damage dealer and utility bots. Like Aura, Quantity, and Curse, bots all focused on buffing the main damage dealer. Let's face it, these parties were purely for farming, not for actual fun gameplay. POE introduces meaningful character synergies and interactions, with limited aura slots encouraging diverse builds that complement each other in parties. Players can now call for help when facing tough boss encounters. These changes make it much easier to get your friends into the game. POE2's main improvement is its simplified gameplay system. The extensive skill tree and item system remain, but many features are now more beginner-friendly. Early game options for passive skills and gems have been streamlined, unlike the original game that bombarded you with skill gems from the start. POE2 starts with a simple choice between 2 options, then gradually expands to 3 options, helping players learn build creation step by step. But while beginners can access all gems from the beginning, too many options can overwhelm new players. Limiting choices actually helps players adjust at their own pace. The game also features robust tutorials across many aspects. Tutorials cover everything from basic looting to advanced dodge timing. Uncut gems now provide in-depth skill information during selection. Passive skill changes now show detailed DPS and survival stats, similar to POB.
This one here, you know, you can see the whole list of everything that it affects on your character. Yeah, sort of similar.
Game mechanics have been streamlined significantly. Take the conversion system in PoE, for instance. You can convert cold skills to fire damage by linking cold to fire support. When converted to fire damage, the skill benefits from both cold and fire damage modifiers. Simply put, cold damage bonuses can boost your fire damage. In POE2, converted damage won't be affected by the original damage type modifiers. Although this may not perfectly illustrate the simplified mechanics, it still represents an overall simplification of the system. Changes like critical, it's no longer guaranteeing status effects. Veteran POE1 players might struggle when switching between the two versions. A newcomer starting with POE2 will find it more accessible. Maybe I should have skipped the explanation altogether. This is definitely the most significant improvement. POE1's crafting system got so complex that I had to make tutorial videos. Now in my guides, I often just tell people to buy the items instead. It would take forever to explain, so let's skip that part. Since it's similar to early PoE, the system should be fairly straightforward. You just need to know a few orbs like how Orb of Transmutation turn normal items into magic ones. Orbs of Alchemy upgrade normal items to rare ones with 4 random mods. Chaos Orbs rare 1 mod on an item to a random new one. These currency items serve both as trading materials and crafting tools. You can also use them at the crafting bench for guaranteed mods. With these simple crafting mechanics, new players shouldn't feel overwhelmed. I keep seeing one particular comment on my POE videos. Will POE to be good for Diablo for players is a common question. POE2 has actually put tremendous effort into making the game more newcomer friendly. They've enhanced the action element, simplified crafting, and added a POB-like info system in-game. The improved tutorials and streamlined early game build options all designed to help new players. They've simplified both the build system, classes, and skills and item crafting. With less content than the original, POE2 might seem simpler than POE1, but when it comes to gameplay mechanics, unlike POE1, player skill will matter much more. The gap between pro and casual players will be huge. In short, POE2 will be easier to start but harder to master than POE1. However, here's some good news: you won't need to worry about character builds too much. Many build-focused content creators will be sharing their builds and powerful strategies across YouTube, social media, and gaming communities. If even experienced POE1 players rely on community build, newcomers shouldn't feel discouraged about using them too. Once you master a couple of character builds and learn from several more, you'll develop the skills to create your own unique combinations. Though I typically enjoy playing my own way, I'll start by sharing beginner-friendly builds when POE2 launches. So jump right in, there's nothing to worry about. We're expecting a much larger player base than the original game. The hype for POE2 is through the roof. I've been creating PoE and gaming content as gamer Binu for 5 years now. From build guides to exciting events like 10 Divine build contests, streamer battles, and hardcore challenges. Subscribe to get the latest Path of Exile updates straight to your feed. Thanks to your amazing support, we'll keep bringing you top-tier POE2 content and guides. Don't forget to like and comment if you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for our next video breaking down all the classes in PoE to early access. Thanks, see you next time.